Hello and welcome to the Citi Newsroom from our studios at number 5 Ola Hanson Lane here at Teshie in Accra. My name is Vivian Kai. Local coming up. Armed police and military deployed as angry youth storm Obuasi police station demanding release of illegal miners who were arrested for invading an Anglo-Gold Obuasi mine.
Oh, it is not possibly the whole of AGA. But when you enter your hole, you can trespass there to AGA. So that's why you normally go there for a little bit of stones and then so that you can take out our daily bread.
Slip driving suspected as cause of horrific crash which claimed 16 lives on Accra Cape Coast Road on Tuesday.
To blame these things on the attitude of the driver. If you reach here and you get to know that this is a curve, a long curve, and you slow down and you drive up to the drive, I'm sure you will do.
Still to come, residents of Teshie give government 2-month ultimatum to fix deplorable inner roads.
We are asking the government, we are asking the MCE, Meba, Teshie, why Teshie? Are we not part of Ghana? How are they sharing the national cake? That we are not seeing development on our inner roads in Teshie. Municipal Chief Executive, if you are asleep, wake up.
And later, Supreme Court cautions and discharges former National Service Secretariat Director, Professor Michael Pesawite, following guilty plea. Let's bring you details of our stories, and there's the deployment of armed police and military officers to maintain order after some angry youth of Obuasi besieged the police station to demand the release of some illegal miners in custody. 15 of the illegal miners were released on bail after 48 of them were arrested upon their exit from the mine shaft belonging to Anglo-Gold Obuasi mine. Now, Citi News' Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani reports.
Scores of illegal miners were caught up in the mine shafts after they made an unauthorized entry to the facility. The mining company, according to the miners, blocked the exit routes and left them caught up in the shafts. Some relatives and friends of the victims later went to the site to demand they are released. They justified why the youth will continue to invade the concessions of the mining giants.
For there, it is an abandoned area. It is where we used to farm in the olden days. It's our farmland area. And then we have ourselves, we have digged a hole which we normally construct stones from. So it is not possibly the whole of AGA. But when you enter your hole, you can trespass there to AGA. So that's why you normally go there for a little bit of stones and then so that you can take out our daily bread. So it's not meant for that we enter deeply to the underground. For where we go, it is an abandoned area. So that's how we normally go. We are pleading to the government that when you go to Western region, this Takwa, Bogoso and areas, the MCs, the DCs have collaborated with the government so that when a place is abandoned, they will give it to the community. So we are pleading that Kodor area, which we call Kodor West South.
A bus was brought to the site and the illegal miners who came out of the shaft were arrested. The angry youth later vandalized a vehicle that transported the illegal miners to the police station. The youth of the area later besieged the Obuasi East District Assembly to call on authorities to make efforts to aid the release of the illegal miners. The atmosphere was charged as the youth went on a rampage and bent car ties to express their concerns. They later marched to the police station where the illegal miners who were arrested were put in custody. Military officers were called in, and amidst the firing of gunshots, they succeeded in dispersing the aggrieved youth. It is unclear the number of illegal miners still caught up in the shaft, as efforts are still being made to enable their exits. The deployment of military officers at the Obuasi Police Command helped to disperse the youth who had besieged there to demand the release of some arrested illegal miners. Calm has since been restored in the area. Hafiz Tijani, Citi News, Obuasi, Ashanti Region.
The swift intervention of police officers prevented family members of a deceased 26-year-old who was allegedly killed by a police inspector boyfriend from physically assaulting the suspect at the Asokore-Mampong District Court. Now, the prosecution and the court, however, are assuring the family of the deceased that justice will be served in the matter, as the Office of the Attorney General has given its advice and the committal processes will commence during the next hearing. Ashanti Regional Correspondent Fatih Aminu Ibrahim reports.
26-year-old Victoria Dapa, also known as Majwa, was allegedly killed by her boyfriend, Inspector Ahmed Chumesi, on 20th April 2023 at Adum, few meters away from her house. During the first court hearing, the suspect confessed to committing the act but insisted that it was not his intention to kill his lover. At the second hearing, agitated family members who went on a rampage attempted to get hold of the suspect and physically assault him. The chaotic scenes at the court premises compelled the security operatives to lock the court, and officers later conducted thorough search inside the court since they suspected some family members were armed. Due to the disturbing scenes at the court, there were some delays in calling the case as the security officers had to ensure calm. Appearing before the court for the second time after being on remand, the suspect has been formally charged with murder, as the prosecution has received advice from the Office of the Attorney General. During the court proceedings, the head of legal and prosecutions in the Ashanti region, ACP Kofi Blagoji, prayed the court to assure family members of the deceased present that the police administration is committed to ensuring that justice is served in the matter, which the court agreed and did same. The court also commended the Ashanti Regional Office of the Attorney General for making available the advice on the matter within a month of request, as is hardly the case. The advice from the Attorney General instructed that the suspect be formally charged with murder as committal is expected to commence on the next adjourned date. Despite the court's assurances, some family members of the deceased after the court proceedings once again created a scene as they tried attacking the suspect when he was being escorted out of the court's premises. The police thus had to call for reinforcement to bring the situation under control. The head of legal and prosecution in the Ashanti region, ACP Kofi Blagoji, spoke to the media at the end of the court proceedings.
Very, very difficult moment. But as I indicated, now that the advice has come, we shall proceed with the trial.
Speaking to Citi News, an uncle of the deceased expressed hope that justice will be served in the matter based on how proceedings have been so far.
Yeah, we now wish him almost a fit. But the next summer I had to know how to say assembly in a Boko Yamayan. Is a home and check woman the Boko High Court. I'm a seminal. I content Mamma and the police penunasi and a lawyer penunasi. Says some no more than intent them echo fast mine. Send you wake run a car and ye is the same people whom Nipania Janet on Copa. See o Kumini Pasako.
The court has remanded the suspect, Inspector Ahmed Chumesi, who has been formally charged with murder, into prison custody. The case has been adjourned to 20th June 2023. For Citi News, Fatih Amin Ibrahim, Asokari Mampon District Court, Ashanti Region.
Now, tragedy struck on Tuesday on the Accra-Cape Road, claiming the lives of 16 individuals in a devastating crash. An additional 25 people who sustained varying degrees of injuries are in the hospital. Preliminary investigations point to sleep driving as the cause of this horrific accident. Our Central Regional Correspondent Calvis Tete visited the scene and brings us more details. However, viewer discretion is advised.
Among the victims who tragically lost their lives were several toddlers and some adults. The crash left some victims dismembered and others completely crushed. The dedicated personnel from the Winneba and Kaswa Fire Service Command worked tirelessly to recover the trapped bodies from the vehicles involved. The collision occurred between a passenger bus with registration number GR 5866-L traveling towards Liberia Camp and a fuel tanker truck belonging to the Goodness Energy, an oil company with registration number WR 2063-10 heading towards Mumford in the central region. The fatal crash claimed the lives of 16 individuals, including the bus driver and the tanker's driver's mate. Reports indicated that the driver of the passenger bus was dozing off behind the wheels, causing the vehicle to veer off its lane. In an attempt to quickly switch to the other lane, the driver of the fuel tanker truck was unable to avert the collision. An eyewitness shared the account with Citi News, shedding light on the tragic incident.
Mini a company driver bako, and I don't know yeba and I yebedao a station bako Budum Brown ahaya. Na efitema na me call Elmina no onu call apam ahaya. Intimidinity trailer bako pena ewo yentem. And yeti before you be who say we no sign no you say bibi to say bomb and a bibi boom before you who say driver no abanisu abani side abe funny lane obo abema no ema no light but still ba na eba omo mienu no omo be crash me who say e bi aja betimi atom timi me call reverse according to mami bako you move free Liberia into umu call Liberia camp ahaya ba umu to Saturday osi umu ba no driver no cost speed dodo into your friendly brother crampon or camp no say umu ba umu driver no na on two Obuasi kra into osi umu do wini ba jansi anu onini ni brother kra umu kasai.
Sam Dito, a survivor of the crash and an occupant of the passenger bus, sustained minor injuries and was treated and discharged. He recounts the incident in an interview with Citi News, providing insight into the harrowing experience.
Everybody stood up and everybody started shouting. What really happened? Most people were sleeping, so that heavy noise that usually when car try to collapse, people try to shout. Yeah, I didn't observe that because most people was sleeping. Yeah, so at that moment, few people that were awake, they just jump. Oh, accident, and people started crying. Oh, man said I jumped down, but there was an oil in the car that leaked already. So when I jumped down, I slipped. My two legs went in the air again, so I started feeling some pain.
However, another passenger who was on board the bus highlighted concerns about overloading conditions of the vehicle, both in terms of passengers and goods. He described how seating area was packed with containers of cooking oil, sacks of rice and beans. The passenger also revealed that the loading officials seized his phone and deleted the videos he had taken as evidence even before the bus departed from Monrovia on Saturday. He further alleged that the driver had bribed officers at various borders for a smooth passage. Local residents expressed deep concerns about recurring incidents. Ebo Anderson, a resident of the area, shared his thoughts with Citi News.
There's an observation that we have made. That is Gomoa Okyereko, Domnase, and its enclave. It is growing in terms of population. And for that matter, this accident is becoming worrisome. So in as much as the government should have a look at it, it is very important. If not, we are going to record more casualties. If I should tell you, per record that I have, this very month of May, 1st May we had an accident, 2nd May we had an accident, 3rd, 4th May we had an accident, 7th May we had an accident, 12th, 14th we had an accident, 27th we had an accident, and today too there is an accident. It tells you that something should be done as far as this place is concerned.
For commercial drivers who use the stretch, they are confronted with a lot of challenges, ranging from the lack of speed ramps, huge potholes, to the issues of vehicles not being towed from the stretch on time when they get damaged. They enumerated some of the challenges to Citi News.
Say big trucks, no. If you want man, na can say it's a plan so. This is a can say no. MTTD for big cars and no major can is one. Some men start happy or should be bringing. Most are not can be a question and new. And sometimes a bad road. One baby one man instead of asphalt, no. I say now some commercial patch or Messiah asphalt, no by something. Sometimes ocean accident is me bring now. Because of single lane. Sometimes careful bring now
heavyweight Jamaya Kwan baby Udu even from soldier phone wire Kwakwampona, Kwana Muchimonka. Pressure or Kwanoso. What was Abakwanoso? At the same time, no cast in the doors with Miricabon, and at the same time, no Kwanoso and air small, and mark cast in Nam Kwanoso. In Tema, Ubia said traffic across one Ubia air pentam said, or some cast near dinner. So, Stan Uno and Yashi, no question other cars.
The Winneba Fire Service has been relied upon as the primary respondent to accidents along this stretch. DO2 Kwesi Hughes, the commander of the fire service in Winneba, shed light on the prevailing issues, citing driver indiscipline and speeding as a major contributory factor to these accidents. He recommends the construction of a speed ramp along the stretch as a means of controlling speed and ensuring road safety.
Change the attitude that we exhibit on the road. For instance, you could see somebody, because his car is new, trying to overtake about 6, 7, 8 cars at a go. You understand? This road, I don't know, the indiscipline is too much. I'm sure the only solution is that speed ramps that will enable the driver to slow down must be mounted on places like Okyereko. Otherwise, people will keep speeding. People will keep trying their cars here. I'm not happy when it happens like that, and you see your fellow human beings being dismembered because of one person's mistake that we could have helped him to avoid. They said the U-turn driver was sleeping. The question is, didn't anyone in the U-turn car see him sleeping? What did they do? Did they protested, or they just wanted to reach their destination?
Meanwhile, ACFO John Amalai Amate The commander of the Central Regional Fire Service visited the accident site and hospital where the injured victims are receiving treatment. He recommended the personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service for their resilience and also urged drivers to exercise discipline on the road.
In fact, I want to take this opportunity to commend my municipal fire officer, DO2 Hughes, and his men for their bravery, for their gallantry, and for the great work they have done this morning. In fact, rescuing in this kind of operation is not the easiest, where men are trapped under seats, where they have found themselves located at obscure corners, where you need to break chairs and throw them out, and where you need to rescue persons who are torn into pieces. It's not easy. It's very traumatizing. But I want to commend them that in spite of all this, they were able to stand their grounds and do the needful. When you see the damaged vehicles involved, it's really a deadly incident. And we pray such incidents does not occur again.
Over 16 people are feared dead in a gory accident at Gomoa Okyereko in the central region. Just behind me is the truck that was involved in the accident. But the question people keep asking is, when is this road going to be dualized? They believe when the road is dualized, it will help reduce the accidents. Carlos Teshie, Citi News, Gomoa Okyereko.
Still on roads, and residents of Teshie in Accra have given the government a 2-month ultimatum demanding the rehabilitation of all deplorable inner roads in the community. Now, thousands of residents in the community hit the streets of the township to protest the poor state of the inner roads on Tuesday, May 30, 2023. Their focus was on inner roads at Greater Estates, Tribleu, and Teshie La Scala, among others. The following report has more.
These are the current state of roads in the Teshie community. Inner roads in Greater Estates, Teshie First Junction, the Teshie Township, Teshie La Scala, among others, are all in a deplorable state. According to residents, the call for rehabilitation works from major stakeholders has proven futile despite several appeals. In view of this, residents in the Teshie Township embarked on a protest on Tuesday, May 30, 2023, to drum home their demands. Clad in red and black, the residents demanded the immediate commencement of work on all inner roads in the community.
Ibasa mi hu ego ewe ko ego be ni efe money eje pa mobo ke accident ba eloje ko pa e ba ni nabo no wo fe wo ke wo ewo mi bona fe ni anya sa gbe aha wo fe.
Teshie also need to share on the road. That is because we are coming here. Fix the road for us. The main road that they've stopped the way. Look at our road. All Teshie roads is bad. There are no contractors on the road. Go to Teshie main road and see the contractors are not on the road. And other roads linking to Lekma. Apart from Lekma Road, all Teshie roads are bad. And it is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama who completed that road. We are not here today for politics. We are here for the betterment of people of Teshie. We have been paying our tax. This is not about politics. Enough of this. Modikai, the MC, and the president should fix our road. It's their duty to do it for us. We've been paying our tax. Our trucks, we can't buy trucks again. Enough of this. Teshie people, we are tired.
They get potos, no fit on it. No, I want test my friend can support it. We will make from here. I go with that woman in the home. They won't. They must not get Virginia. I get July, August, September. What one for Ogbina? No, July, May, June. I'm going to get Virginia. BBB now. JB and then just stop.
Alotus fegati. No you want agba wo ketu demonstration ona wow. No yelige bo am wo fi demonstration.
With inscriptions such as our roads looks like Galamsey pits, Trotro and taxi drivers are bleeding, fix our roads, our future, among others. Security officials were there in their numbers to ensure the protest was a peaceful one devoid of any chaos. After pouring libation, the chief priest of Teshie received a petition from the protesters. He pledged to use his outfit to ensure that the roads are rehabilitated.
Demonstration where I am like a petition. This one working on Unukai, me and a fan, Napanasa or Petian. Your coffee echo a hanging, my Jonukai, you will find a petition of Fernando.
Yo, Wadon, one mommy. I can mean no badu da no odia pense. Niji can claim Osabu ayuku vlomo. Ni Teshie fe vlomo. Tekelemu su fe ito, kechiawe itue. Mommy, ni ndumo ma fe na. Ya Teshie fe na. Nge mommy. Kwani waka wo mene sanu waka ma wi egbejegba ahi. Kwani ametu heni ame hawo. Kwani ametu heni. Kwani na agba ni waka pe egbejegba no. The
protest began from the Adum roundabout through the principal streets of the Teshie community. However, when protesters were passing by the Ebenezer Baptist Christian School in the community, pupils in the school halted their studies to join the call for the rehabilitation of their roads by chanting, "Fix our roads." After submitting their petition to the municipal chief executive for Lejokuku, Mordecai Kwashi, the protesters gave the government a 2-month ultimatum to ensure significant works are done on their roads, or else they will embark on another protest.
Our concerns are simple. If you look at the state of roads in Teshie, they are in a very deplorable state. All the way from Matetu to Okwegono, to Kamtu, Triblo South, Ford, Greater Estate, all our roads are bad. And this demonstration has become eminent at this point in time in the life of the people of Teshie, because I've gotten to a point where our pregnant women are losing their babies because of the nature of bad roads. They're having miscarriages. It has become important because our drivers who work here to get sales, to take care of their families, their children, and their dependents, when they work for like 2 days, they spend majority of their money in repairing their cars. It has become important because when our school children are going to school and it rains, you see that they walk in mud to get to school. It has become important at this point in time because when you are out of Teshie and you are coming home and you request Uber or a boat, they wouldn't come because of the nature of our roads. We are asking the government, we are asking the MCE, Meba, Teshie, why Teshie? Are we not part of Ghana? How are they sharing the national cake? That we are not seeing development on our inner roads in Teshie. Municipal Chief Executive, if you are asleep, wake up. Don't sleep. If you are asleep, wake up. If you are asleep, wake up. Teshie concern you. Boy. Boy. This is our word. We are giving you 2 months ultimatum. If we hear nothing, the Constitution gives us the right, Article 21(1)(d), to embark on civil demonstration. The Public Order Act 1994 gives us the right. 2 months ultimatum. And you hear from the people of Teshie again.
Responding to the petition, Mordecai Kwashi assured residents that significant works will be done before they are giving ultimatum.
Yesterday, when I called to meet you, I was hoping to dissuade you from this demonstration. It didn't work. However, I want to say that already what you are working on, what you are complaining about, we have already started the work on it. And we believe that we will finish the work. As I've told you, there are 4 main roads they are going to do. I've announced them severally, and so you know them. But since you have delivered a petition, I will give you the privilege of hearing from me the 4 roads that are being constructed, immediately being constructed. The first road is the Adum roundabout
to Lekman Hospital, where they are working now. It will be asphalted, it will be done. And next one is from Ajoman Rabat again to First Junction here, it will be done. The third one is from Yomo Specs on the Link Road to Manfi Junction on the Century Road, it will also be done. The fourth one is from a port, total, all the way to the last stop, the MP's filling station. We'll do that one too. Please have confidence in the government.
Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for the constituency, Benjamin Nate Ayuku, after receiving the petition, also revealed that allocated asphalt overlay to Teshie have been increased from 10.4 kilometers to 16.39 kilometers.
I've been to the Urban Roads head office on numerous occasions, engaging the director, and they assure me that they will attend to our needs. In fact, what we are seeing today, it is our share of asphalt overlay in this community. Initially, it was 10.4 kilometers, but I'm happy to announce to you that as we are speaking, it has been increased to 16.39 kilometers. And I hope with this work, most of our bad roads are going to be put in good shape. And this road has affected us badly, financially and health-wise.
You're still watching the City Newsroom with me, Vivian Kai. Local, when we come back, court cautions and discharges former National Service Secretariat Director, Professor Michael Kwesa-White, following guilty plea. You stay with us. We'll be right back with that story and others.
Wow, this place has changed, yo! Yo, Adum, look at you all grown up, yo!
Some things never change, like Gino's quality recipe that gives my food that rich color, unique natural taste every time.
Smells good, yo!
Hey, sister, with the wap ponsano and casa, just like I remember.
Uncle, hurry up and let's open the suitcase.
Ajua, say, let me shrink one part.
Best jollof I've ever eaten.
Wow, this is real jollof, mommy.
Gino dear, Emma Adriana de Ancasa.
Say Gino dear, fie. It's delicious, yo!
This advert is FDA approved. A forest is made up of trees of various kinds. A great country like ours must be endowed with many trees. Last year was successful. Be part of this year's campaign on the 9th of June in planting 10 million tree seedlings nationwide under the theme Our Forest, Our Health. Seedlings will be made available at the Forestry Commission and other designated places nationwide. Let us preserve our forests. Green Ghana. Let's go planting. This campaign is proudly brought to you by the Government of Ghana under the auspices of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Forestry Commission, and supported by the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program, Ghana Forest Investment Program, Forest Plantation Development Fund.
And you're welcome back to the City Newsroom. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. The Supreme Court has cautioned and discharged the former Executive Director of the National Service Secretariat, Professor Michael Kwesa-White, after considering his apology and mitigating prayer of his lawyers. Now, this follows his conviction on his own plea of guilty and deliberation by the court panel on what appropriate sanction to be meted out to him. Now, we have more from our reporter, Hansen Ajuman. Hansen.
Professor Kwesa-White was represented in court by Dr. Justice Rumsai and Godwin Tamaklo. Now, when the case was called, the charge of contempt of court was read, and then his plea was taken. Now, according to the charge as read in court, his comments which he made via Twitter on May 19, 2023 scandalized the court, brought the name of the court into disrepute. Now, initially, he pleaded not guilty to the charges and later changed it to guilty with explanation. The bench then queried whether if he indeed understood the charges as read to him and wanted the charges to be reread for him. He indicated that he understood the charges, and hence he is then changing his plea from guilty with explanation to guilty. Following his plea, the bench then convicted him and took a mitigating prayer from his lawyer. His lawyer indicated that the moment the issue was brought to the attention of their client, he took steps to purge himself of the contempt by apologizing via the same medium for which he made those comments. And also, he had taken steps to make sure that the apology is publicized in the Daily Graphic on the front page. He also indicated that his client had taken steps to delete that particular tweet, which in the eyes of the court scandalized the court. Now, based on this mitigating prayer, there was a brief recess where the judges went to contemplate and deliberate on what sentencing to be given to him. After about an hour of deliberations, the bench returned, chaired by Justice Mariama Owusu, came back and delivered its judgment. Essentially, the judges indicated that they've considered the apology, they've considered the grave effect of what he said, and have decided to caution him and discharge him. They also indicated that he's at liberty to make any comment with respect to judgments of the Supreme Court, and they are not preventing him from making those comments. They'll only urge him to do those comments with respect to what the law says and in civility, and not to do anything to disparage the court. After proceedings, Professor Kwesa-White came out of the courtroom with a number of NDC known personalities like Sylvester Mensah, the former boss of the National Health Insurance Authority, also in accompanied with his lawyers, who essentially indicated that they were not going to give any comment on the issue, but for the fact that they are grateful for the magnanimity of the court. Based on the judgment of the court, Professor Kwesa-White, he has been convicted. He, however, has been cautioned and discharged by the Supreme Court. Reporting for Citi News, Hansen Ajuman.
Now, some members of a group calling itself Single Man Contractors of Ghana have besieged the premises of the Ministry of Roads and Highways to demand monies for work done 4 years ago this morning. Now, the group, which is made up of individual contractors in charge of weeding, desilting, and other auxiliary works under the Highways Ministry, thronged the ministry with the hope of meeting the sector ministers to set up a payment plan for the arrears. However, their hopes were dashed as no representative from the ministry could attend to them. There's more in this report.
In a dire turn of events, the unfortunate circumstances faced by the members of this group have taken a toll on their lives. One member who was once hopeful for his daughter's future now finds her education abruptly truncated due to the prevailing situation.
My daughter is going to school at Kumasi Tapa Nursing. They have opened school since on the 9th of May. Up to date, yeah, my daughter is not good. I can't be able to help pay her the school fees.
How much is the school fees?
4,000. So are you saying you don't have? I don't have 4,000, and I don't know where to go and get this 4,000. My second daughter is at TTU, Technical University, but I owe around 27,000 that I owe, that I could not able to pay that 27,000.
Another member battling health issues is unable to seek vital medical attention as the lack of funds has jeopardized his well-being.
I invested all my money, savings into it. I borrowed money from the bank, even our church credit union. And the money is locked. 2021, I was supposed to go in for heart surgery. When I needed this money, it did not come. I have to go and borrow money and change it into dollars before I had my surgery. I'm still waiting for the money to go and pay to the people I borrowed the money from.
I'm sure these people must be pestering you for them.
At times, most of the time my phone is off.
Tragically, the group has also had to mourn the loss of some of its members who have succumbed to the hardships they endured.
These are obituary posters of some individuals that members of this group is claiming have lost their lives because they haven't been paid for work done. These people, they say some of them had to go for surgeries, some of them needed the money to pay other important expenses but were not able to pay, and so for that matter they lost their lives in the process. So you see, this one is Openyi John Amwa, aka Ejakwao Amwa. There's one which also says that he was 59 years and he is also called Kwesi Adum. These people, the members here, claim lost their lives as a result of the monies that are yet to be paid them.
These workers have been contracted by the Roads and Highways Ministry to undertake crucial tasks such as weeding, desilting and cleaning capstones. The government's payment system involves pre-financing the work, with the funds being disbursed after the completion of the tax. However, a distressing reality looms over these contractors as the government has failed to remunerate them for the work they completed since 2019.
How can somebody be working for 4 years without payment? The minister should put himself in our shoes. Will he continue to be minister if he's not paid for 4 years? It's a problem. It's a problem.
And I know it's not your first time coming here with your members.
Yeah.
How many times have you been here? And
Over 20 times. Over 20 times. When we come, meet you. When you come, you won't see the minister. You won't see the minister. But intelligence, we have intelligence on the ground. People who hinder the minister, the guys are here, and the minister won't come to office at all.
The vice chairman of the association, expressing the concerns of the entire group, emphasizes that the delay in payment not only affects the livelihoods of the workers but also puts essential infrastructure at risk. Many medians and drains may be left unattended to, posing potential hazards to the community.
Don't blame them because they don't have money to do that work. If we are paid today, maybe tomorrow we will go. But once we've not been paid, just ask me 100 Ghana Citi. I can't get it for you. And I'm not lying. It's a fact. Look at me. Is it that bad? It's very bad. Very, very bad. Look at me. Nanado Danko Akufuado, please. Dr. Nyansa Bawumia, please.
Unfortunately, these disgruntled members of the small man contractors of Ghana could not meet with the minister in charge of roads and highways. However, they have sent a strong signal to the ministry and the government at large to pay them monies they say is due them, or else face their wrath. Reporting from the Ministry of Roads and Highways in Accra, my name is Kweku Ediamansa.
Some other stories, and Citi News checks at various law courts in Accra reveal that members of the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana have returned to work after the suspension of their 5-day-old strike. The 2-week suspension follows assurances given by the government to fast-track the consideration, approval and payment of new salaries in the month of June 2023. Now, Citi News' Gomoa Okyereko has more.
The Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana embarked on a nationwide strike, blaming government for failing to implement revised salary and allowances for its members since January 2023, despite repeated reminders. During the 5-day nationwide strike, clients were frustrated as doors were shut to them whenever they visited the courts. As the strike continued, the legal system got paralyzed, forcing the Ghana Bar Association to plead for a resolution to the matter as legal proceedings were delaying. The association then indicated that it would continue to resolve its issues with the government only while staying off duty. However, after a meeting on May 29 between government and the association, JUSAG took the bold decision to suspend its strike to enable negotiations begin at the table. As the news team visited the courts, the usually busy persons of the various courts, like the Supreme Court, High Court, and others, is now being witnessed with vehicles shuttling lawyers, litigants, and accused persons to the court for hearings. General Secretary of JUSAG, Abdullahi Yakubu, gives further details on Monday's meeting with government, resulting in a suspension of the strike.
In fact, at the table, we were shown documents to the effect that processes have far advanced towards getting the approval process. It was assuring to have a cabinet minister, that is the labor minister, present at the table with his deputy, and most especially somebody from the office of the president, because the president has that mandate, with the mandate from the president to speak to the issue. The president is the one who should give us the approval. So once we have somebody from the office of the president, together with the labor minister, a rep from the Attorney General's Department, and from the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, for us, the composition alone showed that the government was showing some commitment towards granting us their approval. And once government was also willing to commit it into writing with the signatories being put on it, then we found that assurance as something that we should consider. We needed to make a balance between the inconveniences that the public had to go through to access justice delivery. We ordered our members to return to work. I've also gone around a number of calls before coming here to be sure that truly our members have come to work.
The association further gives government a grace period of 2 weeks to reach an agreement on the table.
So we've honored our side of the bargain, hoping that the government will also honor his side of the bargain. And the fact that we want the money to hit our accounts next month, June. The timelines were given up to 12th of June is a sufficient time within which, when the approvals are completed, our members can get their new salary in the month of June. If that is done by end of June, we are okay.
If it is not done?
If it is not done, JUSAG shall advise itself.
As I caught up with some clients, they expressed their excitement on the return of the Judicial Service staff and called on the government to consider the request by JUSAG to avert a second strike.
We are here to be heard of our case. And it's a labor case, so we are here to hear the case. But actually, our case is today. So we weren't here during the strike. So when we heard that the strike is over and our case is today, we just came. So the case will be heard around 1 o'clock, so we are waiting.
Okay. But you heard that there was a strike?
Yeah, we heard there was a strike. There was a lot of frustration. Some of the workers called me and asking me about what's going on, will the case be heard on something like that. So they were frustrated. So they heard that they've come back from yesterday, and our case is today. So we were cool by it. Okay. I hope the government will hear to their needs so that things will go on well. Because it's not good for something like that to happen in a court like the court of Ghana, understand? So it will be frustrating. So it's better the government to do something better about it.
Okay, actually, I used to work with a company called Ecoplast. Okay, and we have a case. That is why I'm here. We have a case between the company, the workers, and the Ecoplast company. We have a case. That is why we are here.
Okay, and how long has your case been in court?
Oh, almost getting to 3 years and some months now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you heard about the strike?
Yeah, I heard of it. I heard about it, and I was scared because my case is here. I need to call the case. And I heard that they said there's strike. So I was even praying more that God will make a way so that the strike will come to an end so that my case will be well put on paper or the table for me. I'm a believer. So when I heard about the strike, I told my colleague that they will resume, our case will be called. Yes, and fortunately, God so will be good. We are come to sit down. And I believe my case will be on part of this thing. It's not easy. The government is supposed to help us. because it's like we have been at house 3 good years since our case, 3 good years, and by God so be good. I mean, the judge is trying his best to, sit on the case. The government is, cost another. So we are still begging the government to see to it.
If government thought that the decision to suspend the strike by JUSAG is giving them any indication that they could go back to sleep, then that may be a dream, because the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana is going to press home their demands within the 2 weeks time frame they have given the government to resolve their issues.
Reporting for Citi News, Gomoa Okyereko.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom with me, Vivian Okyereko. When we come back, Vice President Dr. Bawumia officially picks up his nomination to compete in the NPP presidential primaries scheduled for November. Please stay with us. We'll be right back with our story.
This is Esther, an 11-year-old girl who finds herself living with an abusive father.
There is always another way. Protect the child.
Who can save me from this physical abuse?
There is always another way. Protect the child.
Every child deserves to be treated with love, respect, and dignity. Smacking, slapping, spanking children with a hand or with an element such as a whip, stick, belt, shoe, wooden spoon, etc. is physical abuse. It can also involve, for example, kicking, shaking or throwing children, scratching, pinching, burning, scalding a child. Physical abuse destroys the confidence and self-esteem of children.
I feel safe and loved.
Let's be Ghanaians against child abuse. Say no to physical abuse. Be a GAPA.
Finally, anyone can become a household.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Flip, a real estate gaming platform that allows you to play and stand a chance of winning a house or cash or consolidated prizes, such as savings towards a house. Simple and easy to play. Visit www.ugoflip.com. Buy a ticket to enter the game. Wait for the end of the game to enjoy the win. Anyone can win. Flip it or own it. Ugoflip. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Play responsibly, not for persons below 18 years, and gaming can be addictive.
Welcome back to the Citi Newsroom with me, Vivian Okyereko. Now, Vice President Dr. Bawumia has officially picked up his nomination to compete in the NPP's presidential primaries scheduled for November 2023. Now, representing the Vice President, former Vice Chairman of the party, Fred Owari, collected the nomination documents from the party headquarters on Tuesday. Let's delve into the details of this development.
The race for the NPP's flag-bearer position is gaining momentum as aspirants step forward to pick up their nominations. Since the opening of nominations on May 26, a total of 7 hopefuls have obtained their nomination forms. Notable figures such as former Energy Minister Obuasi, former General Secretary of the party Kwabena Japong, Francis Adenimu, former Trades and Industry Minister Dr. Kofi Kunadu Apreku, immediate past Agriculture Minister Dr. Obuasi and Kojopoku have all expressed their intentions by securing the 50,000 Citi's nomination forms. The latest entrant to secure their nomination is Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Former Vice Chairman of the party, Fredo Owari, and former National Organizer, Samia Uku, visited the party headquarters on Tuesday to collect the nomination documents on behalf of the Vice President. Fredo Owari addressed the press following the collection.
Well, we came here to pick the forms for Dr. Bawumia. That assignment has been completed, so we're going back to the office.
Fredo Owari, in the company of other supporters of Dr. Bawumia's presidential bid, then went to the Jubilee House, where they presented the document to the Vice President. Additionally, another candidate, Kojopoku, who is relatively unknown, has also secured his nomination. He distinguishes himself from his competitors by highlighting his appeal to the youth and his expertise in the energy sector.
My qualities, look, I am one of the few people in this country that understand energy more than anybody else. I'm not called an energy expert for nothing. Okay, so when those people, before I even declared to run for the presidency, were saying that we didn't know this man is MPP, because they understand the gravitas that I have when it comes to energy. Today, energy is 60% of our national problems. Upstream, downstream, when we increase electricity, there's a problem. When petroleum prices go up, there's a problem. So you need somebody who can have control of this problem and bring it down. Then there are other issues of youth unemployment. There are other issues of what I want to do for local government. All those things at the right time we will discuss. But look, clearly everybody understands that Kojopoku, who is the most youthful person picking forms and the youthful person to lead this party, has all the solutions for the country and party.
The NPP has scheduled the presidential polls for November, and the party has urged all aspirants to conduct a clean campaign. Evans Nimako, the Director of Elections, shared his message with the press on Tuesday.
So far, it's been very peaceful, it's been very calm. The intent of the party is to ensure that we organize a very transparent, level playing field elections for all prospective candidates. It's a very serious business because we are electing our presidential candidate who is going to be the president for the Ghana come January 7, 2025. So I'll say that it's been successful so far. We are expecting that those who intend coming will appear before the committee and procure their forms. Then we expect them to conduct a campaign that is civil, that is within the rules and regulations given out by the party.
Evans Nimako reiterated the party's position, stating that aspirants are required to pay 300,000 cedis as filing fees.
The party's National Executive Committee, National Council, directed on the 3rd of April that all prospective candidates for presidential will procure their forms at 50,000 Ghana cedi. And upon submission, support the party to run its primaries worth 300,000 Ghana cedi. So that is what has been put out there by the party.
The worst kept secret in town, which is Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia contesting the NPP's presidential primaries, is now official. Mr. Fredo Owari, a former Vice Chairman of the party, has now picked nominations on behalf of the Vice President. That now brings the total number of presidential hopefuls for the NPP to 7. Nominations close on June 24, 2023, and then the party will go to Congress and elect a flag bearer in November. My name is Charles Ofsukumi. I've been reporting for Citi News.
And here in the studio, my name is Vivian Kai. Look, well, that's it for today's edition of the Citi Newsroom. Our website, citinewsroom.com, has more. Subscribe to CityTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV. My name is Vivian Kai. Many thanks for watching. Good night.